And I'm Eliza Bokeen, and we are two brown chicks changing the face of therapy on both sides of the couch. This side of the couch, that side of the couch. So Instagram doesn't know, they may not know why we say that.
True. So when we say we're changing the face on both sides of the couch, we're saying we want to change the faces of the people that are in therapy. We need more people of color going to therapy, seeking out help, looking for healing
on the couch,
and we also want more people of color giving therapy and helping with mental health on the other side of the couch.
That side of the couch. Yes.
So that is how we came up with that tagline. I think, I don't know.
Yes.
We just came up with it and it was like, that makes so much sense.
Yes.
That
and
was the
we've
intention.
been both.
We have
this
been
side
both.
and
Yes.
that
we
side.
have been on both
we
sides
want
of the
more
couch.
people on both sides of the couch.
Yes. So today we have Miss Crystal Hadnott, who is you're doing a lot. I'm like, okay, what do I say? Nutritionist,
yes.
trainer,
Marathoner,
author,
entrepreneur,
marathoner, speaker,
philanthropist. She does so much.
She does all the things.
All the people.
Right. That's what I've learned.
It's kind of freaky. Now that you brought it to my attention.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
You're like, no.
I really kind of do know.
You know everybody every time. So when I met Crystal because I was a client of hers, Pilates, and so became friends with her on Facebook. And then I'm like, you know this person, and every time I would meet somebody, and then I was like, wait. You know Crystal, and you know, and so Crystal needs to run for mayor in Houston because she knows everybody.
She knows everybody.
I know quite a few people. I'm realizing that.
Yes.
So, well, can you tell us more about everything you do and how you tied it into a business with all of these different platforms?
So basically,
the name of your business. Yes.
So the name of my business is Synergy, and Synergy Total Holistic Health and Wellness, and Synergy has a meaning. Synergy was basically bringing together on both sides of the couches, kind of sort of in the same way you guys, bringing together a cadre of health and wellness services, but also synergizing with other people who have those businesses. So connecting other individuals that may be in the health and wellness arena and bringing them into the fold and bringing it under one umbrella. So whether Synergy serves as a place where you can get service and products, but it also can serve as a resource center, because I know a lot of people, you know, so I can refer out for a service that I may not particularly offer, but someone else in the health and wellness industry offers. So that's where the concept of Synergy comes from. And basically a cadre of just things of how life happened to me and those services that I needed in those moments, I actually gave birth to in my business.
Okay.
And your story is so inspiring and interesting because you didn't always have like this physical health nutrition sort of background.
No.
What was your original background? Why you know everybody too?
So yeah, kind of sort of why I know everybody. I had a very public profession. In my first life, I was in the political arena from different aspects. Whether I was doing management side to political campaigns, to being also a lobbyist for nonprofits, and just different industries who needed funding from federal and state governments.
Okay.
So that caused me to be in the loop with a lot of both from individuals from a campaign perspective, but then when I got on more of the corporate organizational side with the lobbying, so tied me into a different organizations and corporations from that perspective.
Okay. And so then how did you move from that into what you're doing?
So I was working at a lobbyist, as a lobbyist, and when things just start happening to me as it relates to my own personal journey with health and wellness, the first thing that happened is that I was literally like this picture perfect person of health. I was a tennis player, because most people think I've been running all my life. My first actual love was tennis, and I played tennis from age 5 through college. And so I was deemed to be this healthy person, but one day my colon just stopped working. And doctor's like, well, there's no machine that we can jumpstart your colon back. You know, like, let's just hope you don't die of toxicity. And I was like,
let's just hope.
That's not an option. Yeah, so knowing what I did know, I was like, they went to school and read books, and I went to school and read books. So let me just pick up a couple of books and read about this whole, how does your body process food through the colon and understanding how it works, and basically self-teaching myself through reading books initially about how food processing works with our body and how we can heal ourselves through that process. Just, purely for a personal perspective, and ended up then taking classes because I just became enthralled and interested, and ended up becoming a certified nutritionist in the process, but never wanted to do it for a living. I was like, I'm a lobbyist. This is what I do.
Yeah.
So fast forward about 5-6 years later, I'm still working as a lobbyist, and I kind of had leaned on this whole health aspect. So I was a lobbyist for a health nonprofit that's here, and I had an accident and I slipped and fell and basically became paralyzed from hip to foot. And so doctors once again telling me, well, hey, this is kind of as far as this therapy thing can get you, and so you just learn how to walk with this cane and figure out life differently, like this is gonna be your new normal. And once again I was like, nah, y'all told me this before, and I'm not taking it. So once again, with this whole process of self-education, and really got really involved about knowing what I knew from nutrition as far as healing, then learning how from a physical therapy perspective I could heal the body too, and just collaborating those two things that I did know. And in that process, becoming a physical therapist and a Pilates instructor. Still not looking at it as a business.
It's a little side.
It's just what I was doing to help myself. And I heard if you became an instructor, I didn't have to pay for the therapy that I needed. So I was like, oh, I'll just be a Pilates instructor. And so I was really doing it because I didn't want to pay for it myself. And then really just kind of grew into this field of politics, because at this point now, I'm at the PhD level. I'm really what people will look at the top of my game, because now I've transferred from what's considered state level to this now federal level. And so this is quote unquote big time in the industry, and nobody walks away from that. The opportunities are limited, especially for people of color, and then a person at my age. I was one of the youngest lobbyists, registered lobbyists from a federal perspective. And then to say that I was a lobbyist who was handling multi-million-dollar projects was unheard of. And so nobody walks away from that. But lo and behold, what ended up happening is that I, in this process of me growing in my career, I ended up having to bury my mom on the swing of things. And I was writing her obituary, and I tell people, and it wasn't like a sad thing. It was more like an awakening experience for me, because a lot of people were like, oh my God, I was like, it was really kind of like, Crystal, you need to check yourself.
Very sobering.
Yeah, because it's like, my mom lived the life that she was supposed to on purpose, in her purpose, and am I doing the same thing?
Because she was young also.
She was young as well. I was like, I could leave this earth and all they're going to say is she was really smart and she handled big multi-million dollar deals. Like, is that what I want to leave on this earth? And I was like, I want to have what my mom had. Like, she left this earth with a legacy. She left this earth with, when people say her name, you automatically knew what she was involved in, and you knew what she was about. And I was like, I tell you, I still to this day have 5 flags that flew over Congress because all these people gave this homage to my mother. I'm like, what am I doing with myself? And so in that process, I realized that I wasn't living in my truth. And my truth was really these things that I looked at as what I'm doing to help myself was really what I was supposed to be doing to help others. And so that became kind of like the growth of what now Synergy is, because I felt like I wasn't operating on what God had given me. So those things that people had looked at as things that happened to me really happened for me to live out a ministry. And so that's what I really wanted people to understand and know. And that's kind of how I came into this business that I have today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So really serving your purpose. And you do say that a lot. You're like, this is my ministry.
This is my ministry. Yeah. Because I don't want people, because people get caught up in, like, especially when you're an entrepreneur, you know, there's a lot of people throwing things your way, like, oh, you need to do this with your business, and you need to do this to grow your business and develop your business. And I always have to put people to the side that this may be true for, you know, growing dollars or numbers or growth in a certain way as people look at it in that industry.
Yeah.
But I tell people I have a mission and a ministry that I'm more concerned about growing and develop and less what industry say I should be growing and develop. So I'm I'm not willing to compromise my ministry and my mission for $1.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I'm kicking myself in the butt with it, because then I'm like asking God, why this ain't happening? It's like, well, you said you want to do this ministry thing. So, you know, so I have to always constantly even remind myself that, you know, there's a certain mission attached to this. And so I always, you know, make sure people understand, it's a business, but more importantly, it's my ministry.
And how can you have both?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is around the time also because the Pilates helped you to heal. You went from you know, young woman.
Yes.
You're gonna walk with a cane.
Yes.
Pilates, the reformer machine, because that's how I met you.
Yes.
Love the reformer machine,
yes.
right? Oh, love it. And then you also, is this where you discover running?
Yeah. So literally. And it sounds crazy when I was literally on a couch, no movement at this time. Literally, I was still paralyzed from hip to foot, had no movement, and really truly an humbling experience, because here I am, 25, 26 years old, and I have to call somebody to come put me on the toilet, you know, because I can't take myself to the restroom. I can't get up to take myself to the restroom. I then had to rely and be, you know, dependent upon others when I was a super independent, smart girl.
Right.
And so in those moments, I was like, you know, I was playing these mind games with myself because I had a lot of me time. It's like, so what if I was to move one day again? Like, what does that mean? What can I do with it? And that's when those thoughts of running came to me, because I had a mentor who was a marathon runner that I had spent some time overseas in Africa with, who had passed away. And I laughed because I remember one of the last things before death that he told me. He was like, "Crystal, you're going to be a marathon runner." I was like, dude, I hate running. You know, at this time, like, I wasn't even doing 3 miles, like nothing. I was not, running was punishment for tennis players. Yeah. So I was just like, dude, wrong girl. No, I hate running. It's not my thing, not my jump. And then just looking at just this, then I saw something on TV where they were doing miles for people, running all these different charity miles for stuff. I was like, what if one day I do start moving and I run for others? So the run is never about me. And still to this day, when I run, it's never been about Crystal. And so that's why it was so hard for me to even talk about my story initially, because I felt like I was taken away from the fact that I'm putting myself into it and not what I really want others. So what the focus to be. And so I never wanted people to be like, Crystal, the marathon runner. I wanted to be like, no, Crystal is running, so can I. If Crystal got beyond and past this point, so can you. So I really always wanted that to be the focus of what people saw when they saw me as a runner, and not that, oh my gosh, she's so amazing. It was like, no, if she can do it, I can do it too.
Right.
So
you do a lot of running.
And I do a lot of running.
I'll wake up Saturday morning and it's like, it's 10 a.m. Got my 11 miles, my short 11 miles, and I'm like, because she's a morning person. So I'm like, oh my goodness, like you've already, and that's like her 5th run of the week.
Yeah. So now it's become kind of tied into my whole mental health,
right?
My whole meditation.
And you say that,
and I can, because it's my time to really, and that's why it's important that I do it before the world wakes up. So people don't understand why I wake up. I don't just wake up at 3:50, 4 o'clock in the morning because I want to. That I'm just like, oh, I'm this super duper morning person.
You're super duper to me.
I mean, you make that assumption, but I tell people what I learned in those moments is that when the world is really still, I can really focus and tune into the divine power in those moments. Yeah. And there's nothing more amazing to be in the middle of your meditation and you see God's work wake up.
That's beautiful.
And so that's what I tell people about. That's what the morning run is, right? So I mean, I can really tune in and focus on the universe and what He's trying to tell me when everything is calm and quiet. Right. Everybody's asleep, nothing's really moving. And I always get these weird things because I tell people every now and then when butterflies are not supposed to be around, one may fall on me in the nighttime. You know, butterflies don't fly at night. You know, and that's what people don't know. Like scientifically, that's what they say they don't. I was like, but I've had so many butterflies land on me, you know, and just different things come to me and speak to me and in those moments. And I tell people, and then I'm reminded of how He can show up when the sun rises, you know, in those moments. So, and then it's just like watching everything just come alive reminds me of how He can come alive in our lives. And so for me, it's like, you know, from a spiritual perspective is that, but then you have from a physiological perspective, that movement and wakening up of your body also helps, you know, calm down the cortisol levels and all the other stuff that's going crazy in your brain and really kind of get the body kicking from a colon perspective, because that's another reason why it was like so important for me to start moving and running. Your colon gets activated if you go for some type of cardio prior to having your first meal when your body goes to the fast at night. Even the fitness worlds kind of play on and call it fasted cardio, but that's they don't understand the scientific. They just like, I'm doing fasted cardio. So understanding from a physiological perspective as well as the spiritual perspective, that's why the morning run exists for me. And that's why it's so important.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah. So if somebody is struggling with their mental health or mental wellness, how can physical health or being physical help with that?
Yeah, well, from a scientific perspective, we all know that one, your body immediately calms down. I personally have dealt with anxiety. And as soon as you literally just take a moment to walk in breath with your actual heartbeat and everything, it's amazing how the body just automatically calms down. So you bring your stress levels down dramatically just for taking an inhale, exhale in literally just 2 steps. Right. You change your body by 75% from a stress level, 2 steps, 2 breaths. And so, you know, that within itself helps you with the stress. I tell people going outside in nature from, from a psychological way, that energy and that connecting with the environment, so walking outside, you know, doing something physical that costs you no money, you know, there's no gym membership is involved with that, no trainer is involved with that. You already know how to walk, you know, so just taking those grounding. It's it is grounding, and it levels and it helps you start to get everything else, you know, in alignment with what you need to do. It's like the first step to aligning yourself.
Love it. That's awesome. So if someone is struggling to find that motivation, what are some like small steps they could take? I hear you say like
walk, because I tell people all the time. I was like, look, your ministry may not be running marathons. That's not everybody's ministry. Like I tell people, and I was laughing because I had a really close girlfriend of mine who did her first full marathon this year, and she was like, Crystal, I've had 3 kids and this is worse than childbirth. She said, you make it seem like it's easy.
Because she has, when she does her races, she has pearls on. She's got red lipstick. She doesn't sweat. I
I don't sweat in my face, so it has the assumption that it's no effort.
Lashes,
but my lower back,
is
sweating.
But you see her pictures before and after. It's like, oh, I thought you were gonna run.
Yeah,
like,
you
did.
Yeah, but I tell people, but that's the whole thing. Also, from a mental perspective, is I began to connect, and I really don't sweat that much because what I've learned that I have done from a physical perspective when I go into a run, because I truly enter each run from a meditative perspective, that my resting heart rate drops all the way down to like 60, which is a normal person's resting heart rate. And I'm at 60 in movement.
Wow.
And so people don't understand, she's not sweating. She just looks like, but I literally go in one, and that's where Pilates and all that's come into play, go in one with my breath as I'm in movement.
Right.
And so that really helps. And people can do that just from, not from a running perspective. You can go outside and just start there and just go for a walk. I once started walking because, you know, maybe I'm missing something, and now at night I try to go for a walk before I go to bed because it brings the body down and all that stuff. So that's the first step, is just to go out and go for a walk. If you can't go outside, you don't like it's cold, walk around your house. You'll be amazed at just how going back and forth. I was reading a story. It was a lady, I'm not sure where she was in the United States, but she was 90 years old and she was diagnosed at 75 with a health ailment, and she just started walking in her living room and she ended up losing 100 pounds.
Wow.
From walking in her living room. So your start can be wherever you are.
Right.
You know, you don't have to look at someone else's Instagram or Facebook feed and think that you have to start there.
Right.
Your start may look very different, because I didn't just wake up one day and start running marathons.
Right.
I literally had to learn how to take one step and two steps, because I had to learn how to walk again.
Right.
And so I tell people, so my start looked very different to what it looks like now. So my start was like, ooh, I got to get all the way to that wall. You know, that was like,
that was your marathon.
That was it. That was my marathon. It's like, we can get 10 steps without falling. I'm good. You know, so your start will look different. And that's kind of what I relate to in the book, is that, you know, wherever your start is, that's where you start, you know, and know that what you may look at as a finish, it may not necessarily be the finish, because that just may be your jump start to the next level where you're going to be. So,
That's awesome, because it really does. It's you don't have an excuse. Like, you have space. You can move. You
just
can
move
walk,
your body.
Whatever. I follow this speaker. Her name is Mel Robbins, and she talks about like micro exercises. She's like, that's what I'm starting to incorporate. Like, I might not have time to do an hour workout, but I can 5 to 10 minutes to do squats and sit-ups and push-ups and, you know, jumping jacks and things like that, where I'm like finding these moments and pockets of time to actually move my body.
And micro is really, because that's kind of where we start. I work with a bunch of little elementary kids, and that's kind of where we start with the elementary kids. And I do with my 4-year-old niece, who, you know, the one thing you can do, like teaching your kids to take 2 minutes to brush their teeth, and to make it more fun and interactive, find a 2-minute song that they really like, and in those 2 minutes they're doing squats. So you start to incorporate those exercises at a young age, so they know what that movement feels like, because even little kids need that blood to start flowing in their bodies. That's why we get stiff in the middle of the day, you know, just that movement. And it may be, I'm starting with 2 minutes today, and maybe next month I'm doing 4 minutes. So, and you will see a change in your body regardless, you know, how small of a step you take.
Just start.
Just start.
Okay. So tell us a little bit more about your book and any other of your favorite resources that you have.
Well, my book, I never really looked at a resource until someone else called me out. That's why you have to love friends, because I wrote this book, I put it out there, and I was having a bad day, and a friend sent me my page 63.
Oh, wow.
She was like, when was the last time you read your own book? I was like, I don't know.
Tell the name of the book.
The book is The Finish Line Was Just the Start. And so, you know, so it has become a resource for me, because this book started off as something that was just really my journal. It was my diary that I wrote in, because I was starting to get so frustrated, because I was like, God, why you keep putting all these health restrictions, what I looked at as restrictions at the time, now I know that they were building me up to build this ministry that I had.
Right.
But I was like, why I'm keep getting these different restrictions in my life? And so I was just journaling about it. And the crazy part about it is that I always hear this theme that people talk about, that life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And being a marathon runner, I was like, I was in my head, I was like, you know what? You really do go through all the emotions in a marathon that you would go through in everyday life. So the book basically literally talks about that. Like the introduction is talking about the training plan. Like what's your training like? So I talked about all the things that I felt that was the training part of my life that built me up to where I am now, and how things that are happening in our lives or to us in our lives that can be basically training us for our next level in our life.
Right.
So, and just really the book kind of goes through these different emotions. So it's my resource, because when I'm having a specific emotion, I can go to one of those chapters to be reminded,
how you got through it before.
Like, because and I laugh because now I've done well over 150 marathons, which is
I know.
sounds crazy. One day I'm actually count, because I had to stop saying over 100 because I've been saying that for like 5 years. I was like, okay, over 150. Like one day I'm gonna really, really count. But and when I get caught up on a certain issue or get caught up in myself or in this pity party, I'm reminded you already been in this space before.
Right.
You come out of that space. So figure it out. Give yourself 5 minutes to have this pity party, and then come out.
Right.
Like get out. That's all I use it as a resource to kind of like get me out of that funk of that space.
That's awesome.
But I do allow myself to sit in that feeling and that emotion.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's 5 minutes. Sometimes it's a long 5 minutes.
Sometimes
like 5 hours.
It could be 5 days.
Sometimes it's 5 days,
Right.
but I allow myself to feel that emotion completely, because I also have been on the side of holding in that emotion and not fully experiencing it or understanding it, and just tapering it down and learning that is just as bad
Absolutely.
as not dealing with it. So just trying to like it's not existent. No, it exists there, and it's okay, and you're still human because you have it.
It's okay for you to have that
and release it.
Release it.
Definitely. So what makes you dope? Let's go. I mean, I know we talked about
what makes me dope. I can do it as a joke too, and I'll say for real. Jokingly, you don't come across a black female who's run over 150 miles.
No, you don't.
It's really, really dope.
That's
just a jokingly way.
Well, that's dope. Yeah, claim it. Very dope.
It's kind of dope. And then, just on the other level is really just taking what other people would have been fearful to do, which is leave an industry that I had put 4 degrees into and time and experience, and be okay with the world talking about me. Because initially, because it was especially being around the period of time that I lost my mom, people thought I was just going crazy. They was like, so you just gonna teach Pilates?
Yeah.
You got a PhD. You understand where the world I was coming from, the quote unquote prestige or whatever attached to it. And I was also a professor at the time at the university. So
you got a lot of those, right?
So you just
supposed to grief.
They're like, girl, she just lost her mama. So I think that makes me pretty dope, because there's a lot of people that will be fearful to take that step, especially when the world may see it as a step backwards.
Right.
But understanding that you're stepping in your truth now.
What you're supposed to be
trusting your process.
True. And then final question: what makes therapy or mental health, just mental wellness, what makes it dope?
Mental wellness. I mean, because you can't. I tell people you can't, even though I'm in the physical part of everything, but my business also deals. I can't deal with you if not mentally prepared. So I tell people mental wellness is dope, because you can't be healthy in any other way until you take care of the mental. The mental seriously controls every single thing. It's like it's a joke, because I now relate mental wellness as a thyroid gland. And so because I have Graves' disease. It was my last thing I got hit with from a physical perspective. But I didn't know this little gland we got in our throat controls everything in our body. It's like this little bitty thing. And so your mental health is that thyroid gland, like this little bitty sliver of a gland that, you know, everything else is visible. Like you see your arms, you see your head, but you don't see this little slither of a gland that sits in your throat that controls the way your whole body operates. And so that's your mental health. Your mental health, people can't see it. It may seem like it's a small thing, like you grieving this for a little bit or whatever, but it literally controls the health state of everything else. Because if your mental health is off, it can also cause physical impairments. And when your mental health is off, it can cause financial.
And vice versa.
I mean, it literally is central to whether you're living a healthy life completely. From a personal, professional relationship with individuals walking this earth, or just all within. From a spiritual perspective, because mentally you throw it off, you can't even focus on spiritual. It can get you to where you like, I don't even see God, you know, or whoever whoever it is that you look to. You know, it's like you can't see it because your mental is so clouded. So it's dope because it literally controls everything.
I think that's the good point, because I know, you know, when you start changing habits and you're like, okay, I got it, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and you're doing it, and then you just can't seem to stick with it, or you fall back.
Patterns. I get that all the time. Well, how do I stay on my meal plan and motivated? I was like, well, really, I'm the wrong person to see for that. I mean, I just got a comment on Facebook about that the other day. I was like, you know, you're not ready to see me until you see this person. Because you really have to get your mental clarity. Or you're not sick enough, or you're not fed up enough. And that's still a mental issue. If you get sick enough and fed up enough, and your mental is ready, you'll be able to stick to whatever plan that you have set for yourself.
Definitely. So how do people follow you? How do they find you? And
at crystalhadnott.com. Well, not .com. The website is crystalhadnott.com, and all social media. On IG is at Crystal Hadnott. Facebook is at Crystal Hadnott Runs. That's how to connect with me.
Okay. And we'll definitely link the book as well in the show notes and all of that. You can follow Melanin and Mental Health at melaninandmentalhealth.com. Across social media at Melanin and Mental Health, Melanin Health on Twitter. And
And, you know, make sure if you're checking out the podcast on iTunes, review us, take a screenshot, tag us, let us know that you're listening, let us know what you appreciate about these shows. We'd love for you to have, give us a great review. But stay in touch with us. We love hearing from y'all.
And check out if you are on our mailing list, we have something coming up for February. So make sure that you're checking out the emails. We'll also post it on social media. Of course, we have a little challenge that we're going to be doing that we're so excited about. So we will reveal all of that on the 1st. So make sure you check your inbox and following us across social media so you can stay tuned for that.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.